Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome back to session 4 of Everything Within You Melts Away, wherein we will try and wrap this up in a very untidy bow, as we always do. Um, so, yeah, Turgenev, this has been fun. I'm going to introduce the cast because they're generally of high quality, and the drama they do is of superb quality. So I always start with our emotional kaiju of the Kingsport Drama Society, Daryl, and they're playing Marina Stanislavna Volkonskaya, a very matronly and upright Russian lady.
Yes, hello. Marina assumed her second to final monster form last episode, which means that there's one more form today that we will definitely get to. So, a lot of Marina's plans started to come to fruition last time. I have successfully mostly engaged my good for nothing son to some German aristocrat so that he doesn't try to marry my secret daughter because that was bullet dodged there. Very proud of that. My husband has acquiesced to a very quiet, very slow takeover of his company. I'm sure that he'll eventually figure it out and it'll be fine. And yeah, I'm about to, of course, set up my secret daughter with the man that I've been trying to throw her at for like 3 episodes. We've never seen him on screen before, but I'm sure it's going to work out perfectly fine. There's nothing that can throw a wrench into my plans now.
I'm pretty sure that we're just that this game could be subtitled "Waiting for Kirill" because he's never actually going to get here. Well, so let's move on to another leg of this love quadrangle. Uh, so I want to welcome my very dear friend who has been a constant presence in all of these things that I've done, and life in games would be worse without her. So please, let's welcome Serafina, who's playing the charming Count Arkadiy Ilyich Katavasov, who is a big boy now.
Is he though? Um, I just want to point out what was said in the chat, which is that Leandro and I both heard you say Kingsport Trauma Society. And I'm sticking with that. It's canon now. So yes, I am playing Count Arkady Ilyich Katavasov, Arkasha, who last episode we saw embroiled in a scandal of his own fucking making because he is an actual child, and decided to flirt with an opera singer. Just not a good plan. And his friend Sergei threw himself on his sword because he likes that kind of thing, and because and because loyalty and friendship and reasons. So that was very sweet of him, and now I am going to be trying my damnedest. Well, Count Arkady is going to be trying his damnedest to wind up with the woman that he loves, despite the mess that he has damn well made himself. Also, he knows too much about his girlfriend's actual mother situation, and I'm sure that's going to go super well also.
Everything's gonna be fine. Just fine.
Oh, it's fine.
Hey, speaking of the guy who fell on his sword, why don't we welcome my dear friend Richard, who I am eternally fortunate to get to play with, and tonight is one of those nights. And he's playing Prince Sergei Leonidovich Zinoviev. I mean, he's a good guy. He's just down a lot.
Hi, I'm Richard, and I am playing Sergei Leonidovich Zinoviev, known as Sergio to his one friend. His other friends are mentees and require a moderate amount of care and nurturing. Much like a good dog. That was in reference to Fina's very good dog. and that he last session found himself engaged through no fault of anyone's but his own, um, to an opera singer who was understandably trying to climb the social ladder.
I think you could be friends with your surrogate daughter. I don't know. But then I play the surrogate daughter, so. From surrogate daughters to surrogate fathers back again. Why don't we welcome Leandro, who sacrifices his well-being upon the altar of Hypnos in order to be with us. We are so pleased for that to be the case. He's playing Viktor Sviatoslavich Volkansky.
Yeah, Victor, who had spent the last session kind of, I guess, in a retreat of everything and something of the sort. The aforementioned wife has basically taken over in family affairs. His best friend has, the aforementioned sword falling. He's kind of in retreat, and I'm not sure if he can do anything about it. Who knows? We have the night to figure that out. We'll see how he fares.
I mean, we're in Russia. With such a climate as that, how can we help but have a sunny ending? Hi, I'm Kat. I had the idea to do this, and my friends are kind enough to keep coming back. And I'm playing Princess Vera Petrovna Semyonovna, who was once engaged to Count Arkadiy, may well be again, but who knows? In last session, despite her setbacks, was a good session for Vera in that I think for at least one or possibly two 72-hour periods, she was almost happy. So, things are just looking up for her at this point. Yeah, there's a lot going on with her. But we'll find all this out in the epistolary. And before we get cranking on an epistolary, what I want to know is just how does Vera find out? Because Vera needs to find out who her mom is before we get to the
I was planning on handling it in epistolary.
Okay, then I am totally okay with that.
If that's okay. Okay, great, cool.
So we are in.
Does Viktor know who Marina and okay, I just wanted to check.
No, he doesn't know.
So yeah, we're in epistolary because it's 19th century Russia and we write letters. So I invite anybody who has a letter to write a letter.
I'll drop a bomb into the middle of the rest of everyone's life. My darling Vera. This is obviously from Arkadiy to Vera. My darling Vera, I thank you for your grace in dealing with the situation of the other evening and for any kindness that you see fit to extend to me as I work my way back into your good graces. I do not know how to say the thing that I have started writing this letter to say. How does one disclose something so difficult? I think the only way that one can do it is to simply let the facts lay where they are. As I said to you the other night, I am not here to protest my innocence. I will simply let my actions stand for myself. And so enclosed, you will find a letter that has found its way into my possession through accident and a cat. And I send this to you hoping that you will find some clarity in it as to your situation. And please know that I am here to discuss it and to support you in any way you need. And then there's a letter, and then there's a postscript afterwards that says, I do not know how you will take the contents of the enclosed, and so I leave this postscript to give you some clarity from my perspective, which you may take or leave as is your wont. I believe that your mother was attempting to do you a great service by placing you in the care of people that she trusted. And I also can see that she has attempted to stay in your life and to love you as much as possible from not too great a distance. If you would like to discuss it further with me, you can. If you would like to never speak with me about it ever, that is also your prerogative. Just know that I am here for you. And as always, yours, Arkasha. And yeah, I don't know how he got the letter. I still haven't figured that out. I imagine it was like misdelivered or something along those lines. Like, it's the Russian mail. You've got to assume that sometimes stuff just shows up on your doorstep. Like, we can't even get Amazon packages correctly done in 2022. We have fucking drones. Like,
What is the
That's
18th century Russian equivalent of a drone? Like a
yeah, I mean,
like a drunk messenger boy or something.
just
Probably.
I mean,
just
there.
a dude that you met in a dark alley.
How how much did Arkadiy want to know what was going on in that household? Because bribing the servant is an ancient tradition.
I mean, he a lot wanted to know.
Bribing the servant is an ancient tradition.
I think he's also like not for nothing. You know, we haven't really explored the ways in which Arkadiy is a gossiping little bitch, but he is. Like, I think he's just got his fingers in everything. But anyway.
I would think that Raiza is probably the person that is much less secure about her correspondence. And
Yeah.
if Arkadiy was like paying a servant to find out if Vera had come back to visit Raiza.
That's how I got it, yeah. That would make perfect sense to me. Now it's bark o'clock, so someone else write a letter.
Well, I have a letter, and it's going to non sequitur from that one altogether. So I'm going to hold the other one close to my chest for now. But, okay, let's see here. To my son, Prince Sergei Leonidovich Zinoviev, an opera singer. An opera singer? It's underlined 3 times. I do not know at what point in any of my previous correspondence you decided to start taking very obviously flippant things literally. And yet there is now an opera singer housed under my roof, claiming that she shall be engaged to you for marriage and that she is very happy to be welcomed in. Under no circumstances, Sergei, is this to happen. I do not know why you have chosen this particular moment to start listening to me, but we're going to go back to you flippantly ignoring me now, because I will not have an opera singer in my home. I have come to believe that it is something to do with that protege of yours that has caused quite a stir around society, and I must insist on, in like the strictest of terms, that you stop trying to fix other people's problems by making me miserable. It is absolutely imperative that you come home, sort this out, and rid me of this parasitic creature. She sings at all hours of the night. I can't get a single hour of sleep. And trust me, you know how I am when I do not sleep. I shall go so far as to reinstate your inheritance if you shall find some way to escape this debacle that you are currently writing. I expect you home within a fortnight, and I expect the issue resolved 1 fortnight hence. Father.
I'll just build thematically off of that. To Madame Volkonsky from the Countess Clara Sergeyevna Karavasova. My dear Marina, how happy you must be to finally be rid of those terrible renters on your property. By which I mean the princess, in quotes, Maria Ivanovna, and her daughter. I have to say, if rumors are to be believed, that they left in a manner that was most precipitous, gone in a night, so the servants were all saying. I hope that they paid you at the very least, my dear. But you are such a shrewd woman of business that I have little doubt that you have made good upon all your debts in this matter. In the meantime, I turn to you in sisterly affection, as I am well aware of your reputation among the young ladies and men of both Petersburg and the province for finding matches. And my poor son, Arkadiy, mopes around the house in the most desperate manner, reading French plays and going to the opera, but nothing brings him any joy. He comes back dragging his feet on the nights that he is not brought back in a cab and carried up by the servants. In short, he needs a woman's touch, my dear. In short, he needs a wife. And now that we're finally free of that mopey parvenu, we can find him a true match fit for a count. Help me find my countess, my dear. I shall be eternally glad. And do me the great honor of visiting the next time you happen to be in Petersburg. Yours most affectionately, the Countess Clara.
This letter is addressed to Arkadiy, but it is spelled in the French style with a C, scandalizing the viewers at home. It's also in French, but unlike our facilitator, I don't know French, so I'll recite the English translation. My dearest Arkadiy, please excuse the ash. There were an excess of papers upon my desk, and I needed to discard some, and forgot to open the window. So there is now gray paper ash almost everywhere. I trust that at some point in your life you will face a similar circumstance, and if you cannot forgive me now, will forgive me then. I understand that though the immediate obstacle is removed, the challenges remain. I hope you will forgive me for presuming to do this, but I would like to give you some advice. You have done moderately well for yourself by ignoring a good 70% of the advice I have given you. So I trust you will read this critically and provide feedback should it be needed. But I wish to encourage you to hope rather than despair. For unlike the times that I have fallen in love before and been rejected, the princess does not have another love that she is pursuing. It is not a matter of you winning her affections at this point. It is the slow, yes, but achievable task of winning her trust. I believe that you are more than capable of this task, though you alone will know and comprehend what is required, for you alone know what you can be trusted to do, and you alone can be honest about your own limitations. Do call rather than write. I find that I am having to have my correspondence burned. Ah, some strange microbes and all that do come with well, correspondence from untrustworthy people. I believe you know where to find me at the hotel in Petersburg, and I trust that you will be there on the predetermined day. Uh, I think I will have at least 3 days from the event to the, well, banishment, at which point I will need to be on the train. I would like to see you before then. Your good humor is appreciated. Thank you for indulging my penchant towards paternalism. And I hope this letter finds you on the road to happiness. For you deserve it. Yours, Sergei.
I can do my second letter. Okay, so I determined that this has definitely arrived after you have received Arkadiy's like tell-all reveal letter. And it is, of course, from Marina Stanislavovna Volkonskaya to the Princess Vera Petrovna Semyonova. And she opens, very cordial, very, you can see the excitement in the penmanship. Vera, I don't know what it was that you have seemed to have said to the Baron, but he has made intimations that he plans to offer his hand in marriage to you. I am so excited for you, my dear. I know that you have been working very hard to court the Count in all of your graces and dignities, and I know that your hard work is finally paying off. My dear, it is so good to see you put together in. It is so good to see you finally entering into a position that will it's so good to see you finally entering into the position that I know you have always deserved. Please come by as your earliest convenience so that we may talk about how best we can orchestrate the most stunning engagement. As always, you can find me at our country house, or if you would prefer, we can always go to Petersburg. I'm sure that we can find something in the budget to buy you a brand new dress for the season. Ever yours, your darling aunt in friendship, Marina.
My dearest Vincent Torrey, please excuse the gap in writing to you. I have started this letter again and again. I am so used to writing to you from a great distance and knowing that it will be weeks, if not months, before you read the words I say, and find myself suddenly intimidated by the fact that you will see this within hours of the time I find a courier to dispatch it to. At least for a few more days, if Not 8. Maybe 9. Possibly 10. Though at day 11, I will need to be, well, on a train. First, I'd hope to ride out to the country and come to your estate. In 3 days' time, I hope that will be agreeable for you and Marina, and that you and I can find some time to talk in private. Second, I have made my travel plans and plan to immediately depart from Athens to Florence. I find that's 504th time. I'm attaching the business card of the hotel. Should you need to come find me, or should you want to come find me, or should you just have an impulse to visit Florence? It's a lovely city. I think you would find it most agreeable and to your taste. Finally, thank you for keeping our conversation of the night in great confidence. It was so strange that I had thought of talking to you about exactly all of those things for so long. And yet, upon the moment, I found myself so stilted and barely able to say anything. Why is it, you old friend, that I find that I can speak so hesitantly to? In any case, when Vera comes to play for you, give her my love, and when you see Marina, give her my warmest regards. Yours, Sergio.
I think Victor's going to reply. Dear Sergio, if you had ever found yourself stilted in my presence, then I apologize, but I would have to take that as some kind of failing, for you have never been any more than an incredible rock to me, and I only wish to be a rock to you in return. We'll speak when we can before your departure, but I would rather not treat this exile of yours with any kind of finality. After all, the world is becoming ever so smaller as time has gone on, and things can only ever be final should either we declare so or fate has taken it out of our hands, and I do believe fate is still within our hands. I'll be sure to give Marina your regards and Vera your love, but perhaps there will still be a moment for you to do so yourself. I'll speak to you soon. Yours.
Yeah, I don't think I have a second letter, you guys. We didn't wind up filling out all of the extra characters, so I only have the one NPC.
It was a very intimate game. Yeah, I noticed that too. But I honestly, I can't really think of too many that we needed.
Yeah, I couldn't think of anything to make up. Like in between last session and
Yeah.
this one, I looked at things and was like,
Yeah.
anything that I did would feel like I was shoehorning.
Alrighty then. To Prince Sergei Zinoviev from the Princess Vera Semyonova. St. Michael's Day, 1864. From Bad Teufelberg, Kingdom of Württemberg. Caro Sergio, you'll forgive how the long gap in my correspondence, but it did take some time to determine just where you had ended up after your unfortunate departure from Russia. A departure that now we both share, though in my case, I suppose my exile could be considered voluntary. I've had rather a bad shock. And at the risk of sounding like some poor heroine of a novel, half consumptive and half a bundle of nerves, I'm afraid I did become ill. I told Mother that we had to leave immediately. We had not gotten much further than Petersburg itself before I fell ill. I have little memory of the boat trip. I just know that she, probably in her wisdom, determined that, like all good Germans, we should go and take the waters. I arrived here in quite a state. And it took days for me to convince myself to leave my room. But in time I rallied. The weather was still fine. There's a charming little colony of Russians here. We talk sometimes in the evening or over dinner. My German is improving. This entertains Mother. And I've been walking when not trying to hide. Lately, the frost comes out early in the morning and there's a icy beauty to it, but it reminds me of home where, no doubt, they are already waist deep in snow. What shall we two exiles do? I'm sure that if we or some of my connections wrote to the Tsar, we could no doubt have you return to Russia. Perhaps not Petersburg, but you were never one to jaunt down to Peterhof and sit with everybody to watch the horse races and hope that Alexander would smile upon you one day. As for me, I will return. Now that winter is on us, perhaps it's not the best time to return home, but I will. There's something cozy about a German Christmas. And it comes earlier, so there's that advantage to be had as well. Well, they don't know how to make a good Russian dinner here, but the biscuits they make are quite excellent. I'm rambling. I have enclosed some watercolors I painted. You've probably conspicuously noticed that I have not asked for the health of Arkadiy. It is not due to a lack of desire. I miss him most horribly. You have given me credit for being wise beyond my years, but it took this shock for me to finally have the ultimate flash of wisdom I required, which is, as you and I have complained on occasion, in a kind way, that Arkadiy does not know himself. Neither did I. I thought I did. For that is the gift of youth. I was wrong about almost everything I thought about myself. I am trying to understand what that means for me. I am still Vera. I am still the person I was when I left. And yet, I don't know, friend. I think you can sympathize with that as a position and a shock to be held. I noticed that you were in Florence. I have never been. Perhaps one day I will have the chance to visit you there. Until then, I wish you the happiest and merriest of Christmas, and the hope that I will see you again back home. All my love, Vera. Well, now, so we're in upkeep. And that means technically we have to monologue now. I was going to make this big deal about, well, we should, No, we can just hold the monologues for the novel chapter. But on the other hand, we could take them and then we'll have monologues for the final novel chapter. Well, yeah, I see yeah, of course. So, as long as everybody takes one tonight, I guess we're fine. And if people end up taking two, that's also fine. So I think literally nobody has monologued.
Yeah, no, I don't think we had time last time.
That's fair. So here we go.
When would we have monologued?
That's fair. We were all too busy being whiplashed by Daryl and Richard.
Yeah, I mean, I think we should just do a monologue of each person in that room.
Yeah, but there's only so many times monologue begins and ends with the fuck.
The fuck. Yeah, no, I'm gonna spend a monologue token. I'm spending it on Vera because I want to know what Vera's feelings were when she walked through the door into the middle of this entire fucking mess. I traded pets.
So do you want when the minute she walked through the door and saw Arkadiy and Sveta?
I think yeah, just any sort of stunned whiplashy feelings. And it can't just be the fuck.
And Sergei was there by that point, right?
Sergei was there.
Mm-hmm.
So they're all in it. And here I am once again trying to sacrifice myself on the altars of their reputations. And they're all in it. I'm sure Sergei means well, and I'm sure Arkasha is trying to do the right thing. But they're all in it. Why do I suffer for this? How much easier it would be if I could fall asleep and not have to care about any of them. But I can't. And I do. Marina Stanislavovna Volkonskaya. So Vera and her mother literally left in one night. Not that same night, but not long after that whole ruckus, which I have no idea if you know anything about, because I'm pretty sure your husband doesn't tell you quite a few things. What are your feelings when the servants come to tell you that the house has been vacated?
She chose her. She chose her. She chose that absolute troll of a woman. I have tended to that girl since the moment I could acceptably find my way back to her. I have been there to water her. I have been there to nurture her. I have been there to prune away all of the bad influences that I could. I have given her the air that she needs by keeping her from people who mean her harm. I have given her the sunlight of the countryside by entrusting her to the man I knew who would care about her above all reproach. I have been there and given her everything that she might need to grow into exactly the woman that she should have been if she had only been able to be mine. And I was on the cusp of giving her the future that she should always have had. And she chose her. one thinks that one is cultivating a rose. Sometimes one thinks that they found a Venus flytrap in the bed instead. It's fine. She doesn't know who her true caretaker is. She can't ever know. But I can eventually bend her in the right path. And I can eventually get her to grow up straight and tall. And then eventually, finally, she will bloom. And then I can rest. I want to know from Viktor, what was the moment? Okay, and if Viktor maybe hasn't realized this, that's fine. Then like come close to that edge and then walk it back. But I would love to hear the point where you fell over the edge of realizing that you had given up nearly 25 years of your life to a woman who had always, and to a degree would always see you as a means to an end.
I think this is like in this state, and maybe this is like after Vera had gone. Maybe some pointed questions were asked about, because Viktor and Vera went to Petersburg at some point for a thing. Earlier today I tried to pass on Sergei's regards to Marina, and well, she accepted them with the minimum amount of decorum needed to accept one's regards, I suppose. And still she continued to ask me about Vera and what we had done in Petersburg, and I did my best to keep her silence. Such affairs are Vera's own to disclose. As much as Marina has poured so much into her welfare, after all, she's not her mother. There's only so much that she's allowed to pry, and yet Marina is someone who has bent society in such a way to suit her in almost every way, and it always seems to just suit her, doesn't it? I've done my best to exist for her welfare, to work to the well-being of her and our family, and well, she certainly looked after. Well, I say she's looked after Lev. I don't wonder if she's ever looked after me, but no, she has looked after me, but more in the way perhaps a gardener would coo over their plants and manage over their nutrients, how much water they're receiving, and perhaps if we bloom brightly enough, we could please her. Do I still want to please her? I that I was desperate to please her. I had things to run away from, and the direction was to her. And I thought, if I could submit myself to being the best society would want, then everything else will follow. But what I want and what Marina want, I can't even say it's diverged, has it? It's never. I blink and I'm 20 years younger with a canvas to fill in. I blink and it's 20 years later and someone else has filled it in for me. Okay, I suppose then that I should throw this monologue token at Sergei. Seems fitting. I guess, Sergei, is this it? Is this the end? I don't have any more than that question, I guess. Is this all you could hope for?
Sorry, I was on mute. What's the question and what's the context?
I guess you've had, as we established, 504 chances. Is there going to be a 505th, or is this it? Or are you finally done?
And what's the context? Like where is Sergei at the moment?
I think probably out of Russia by now, or maybe
you tell me. It's
I'm
entirely up to you.
Okay, that's maybe actually not. Maybe soon after the carriage conversation. Like it feels like that was the closest. That was, if there couldn't have been a better time, or actually maybe not, since you just came off the whole nonsense with Svetlana. But yeah, do you think that was it? After that carriage conversation, like
the conversation we had in the door of your carriage.
At the door of your carriage, yes, we spent 20 minutes hovering over that door.
Yeah, I think you see Sergei give you an arm and lift you up into the carriage, and then close the door behind you, and then act like he's about to call for a cab. But as soon as your carriage pulls out, he just says, "It's you. You know that, right?" And he's just talking to the air. You know that, right? It's you. It's you, and I can't say it. Because if I say it, you would never look at me the same way again. Or rather, you would never look at me again. And I would rather have you look at me in confusion. And so I keep not telling you. I keep saying absolutely nothing. Because it is more important to me to be there when Marina destroys your heart than to take the risk that you will destroy mine. Because if I can take some small joy in being comfortable and friendly and reliable, that sounds better than taking the pain of being rejected. And he gets into the cab and tells the driver where to go. Arkadiy, when you walk through Vera's empty house, where she is no longer, and you've not gotten any correspondence yet updating you on her welfare status or position, What is everything you want to say?
Up until the moment that you left me a third time, I don't actually think I was a man. I think I was a child. I look back at the way that I have loved you, and I realize that it has been a child's love. The sort of love that ends the way that Romeo and Juliet would, with childish declarations and miscommunication and dead people everywhere. And it occurs to me that I don't actually know what love means or looks like or is supposed to be in the context of adulthood. I don't really know how to love you. And now you're gone. And I don't know if you're ever coming back. And there's just this void where there was an entire universe of possibility and of the way that you used to tell me things and show me things and play piano as I walked in and out of rooms. And I cannot say whether or not you will ever come back, or if I will still love you when you do. You're welcome, friends.
Why are you doing this to me?
Because you made choices.
So did you.
Yeah.
Well, this will be an interesting final chapter. Hey, folks, remember to take a look at your inner conflict. And you can get stuff like, I have an extra positive tag now, and I got rid of one of my negative ones. So, So I am thinking, obviously, this last chapter has to be the Return of the Exiles. I'm going to pitch that it's around autumn, a year later. Because, we have managed to do novel chapters in spring, summer, and winter. So I like the idea that it's been like almost a year that Vera's been away. I don't know about Sergei, but
Sergei has no intention of coming back to Russia.
do we need to do this as a split chapter then?
I have no idea. I mean, like, he
No,
might come back to gloat at his father's death.
There you go then.
Or
I have a
if
resolve
Viktor
token.
said, or if Viktor just said, "Please come see me."
All
So
right.
I have some ideas.
Of course you do. It's the last session. Please continue.
Yeah. So I have 4 tags to burn and an actual resolve token. So yeah. So first thing that I'd like to do is since it's been equivalently about 10 months, and since our dear Arkadiy maybe has started to acclimate to the idea of giving up the ghost for good, and since Arkadiy's mother asked me to introduce him to a nice Russian girl, I have a nice Russian girl in the wings who can complete like our tradition of offstage love interests.
I mean, he can meet a nice Russian girl.
Well, and her name is Angelica, so she's very lovely. She comes from, she's actually the daughter of a baronet, and has all of the proper kind of societal upbringings that your mother has been very, very eager to find for you. And also, she is about as exciting as wallpaper.
Cool. I love wallpaper.
So, since we're talking about tags and resolve tokens, how are we bringing Sergei back? Because I am happy to use all my powers. I just want to know what the preference between the two of you is. Does Viktor finally write him and ask to see him again, or shall we just murder Leonid? Because I'm okay with either. I'm okay with both. I've got tags to burn.
As Leonid, I'm also okay if I just keel over and die, and you have to deal with Sveta. Because I'm also Sveta, so.
Yeah, I'm thinking like in the 10 months with Viktor.
Oh my god, I'm loving the idea of Sergei hanging around at Marina's with his horde wife, both in mourning.
I mean, all Sveta has to do anytime she realizes she's pregnant is leave for the continent and say she's going to see Sergei. And they don't even have to see each other because no one in Petersburg is going to know. She can go to Milan.
I mean, I also just love the idea that, maybe your dad died, and then you have all come to grieve at the family home, and I just continuously whisper under my breath, "I am a good hostess. I'm a good
Grieve.
hostess."
Yeah.
Grieve.
But
Oh,
I'm
because
sure
Sergei
everyone will be
mainly going back to gloat.
I mean, it was, most people figure that it's okay, though when you hired the brass band for the Panahida, that was a lot, so... Okay. I'm happy. I'll just spend that resolve token to be the bullet. It's the second time I've used resolve token to kill a connection. So I'm thinking, I 100% plan to make my appearance where I'm just going to, appear in the drawing room at the right moment to talk to Marina. So maybe we want to set things up before then. Like, we could definitely have a scene with Sveta and Andre, and we can even cast somebody. No, we got to have this awkward sexual tension of Viktor in that room, I think.
I do want to have one conversation before we're done with Marina, but I don't have a plan on when that fits into anything else.
All right, well, let's maybe start ginning up a list here. So I have two conversations I need to have. I need to talk to Marina. I need to talk to Arkadiy. I think that's the right order, but...
I think that Marina and Viktor need to have it out.
Yes.
Oh, it's finally that time.
All right. And we want Sergei, Marina.
Sex at a funeral is a well-established literary tradition.
Yep.
Just sort of like a, me tradition.
I also wouldn't mind a scene where Marina and Arkadiy talk, because I'm fairly positive that we've not talked.
Never spoken. Not once.
A little bit here and there.
A little bit.
In passing.
In passing, yeah. The question becomes, am I engaged?
I spent a resolve token, so I would love to say yes.
Okay, great.
I have tags to say that you have an understanding.
Oh yes, I didn't spend my resolve token. I spent one of my tags, which was my pillar of society tag.
Or do we want to go for engaged? So you would have to be faced with the choice of breaking an engagement for me. Yep.
I'm down.
Okay. Yeah. No. I'm there. Yeah, I'm there.
But also, just for the record,
The symmetry
Arkadiy is
is
not
perfect.
doing thirsty for you anymore. So you're gonna have to chase him if you want that to happen. which would be delightful. Mm-hmm.
I feel like
I
that's
mean,
so
we
Jane
always
Austen,
do.
though. You just have to like pony up finally, like admit what you want.
Admit
Oh
what
yeah,
you
no,
want.
that's gonna happen.
Oh,
That's what I've got right now. Is what we want.
in order?
No, just I
Okay.
just wanted to make sure we had them all out there.
I think
I think Sergei and Arkadiy should have some sort of conversation.
Oh,
can
we're gonna have a
happen.
conversation.
It can. Okay.
yeah. So I
Okay,
think that
Daddy. Oh
I think that
no.
Marina and Arkadiy should have the first conversation to like set the new stage, as it were.
Let's do that. Yeah.
Lay out like where everything is, and then we
Yeah,
can
let's do
just
that.
knock it all down.
Where everything is, it's triple fried fucked, Marina.
Oh,
You're
that
right.
reminds me.
Where are we? Are we at the funeral? Is this the reading of the will? Is this what's going on? Where are we?
Maybe you come back to visit with them before you leave Russia again, because I'm sure you can't wait to shake the.
Just tell me where we are, and we'll go with it.
I think Marina's estate, same as the start of Act 2, which was also the same as the start of Act 1. So
Just
Love
wanna
that it's
point
just
out-
Marina's
I mean,
estate.
I have a
Yes.
lot since my father is going to die much poorer than he planned because I am no longer his agent in Europe. I am Viktor's agent in Europe, which means I'm Marina's agent in Europe.
yeah. So you've come back to talk business, and then can't wait till you can shake the dust of Mother Russia from your boots again.
Goddamn Mother Russia dust. All right. Cool.
Are we talking about the plans for your impending nuptials?
We can be, or you can jump me to talk about the plans for my impending nuptials.
What
Seems
were you? That's a very Marina thing to do.
Yeah, I think I have like sort of snuck away from the revelry, like the group of people, and I'm like poking around in a library or something. I've got like a drink in my hand, and I'm clearly enjoying being alone.
Cool. At that point, I just kind of breeze in. It's like, oh, Arkasha, there you are. Note that I am using nicknames for you now. What a turn of events. I strides over and says, Arkasha, dear, that's where you've gotten off to. Now, I know that all of this seems like a bit much, but I promise you, planning your wedding is not that demanding. Please come back to the sitting room and talk things out with Angelica and I, and I'm sure that we can get through the flowers, the orchestral arrangements, the various different courses for the first dinner, and we can wrap it up for the day.
Isn't this something that she can handle on her own?
Arkasha, darling, have you met your fiance?
I believe we have spent several moments together, yes.
Yes. So you know that she doesn't generally like to voice an opinion about things.
I have noticed that.
Yes, I mean, I thought that was, a very, commensurate fit for the two of you. I was under the assumption that you rather liked that about her, that you could kind of just make decisions about things and then they could just happen.
I like women who have opinions and thoughts.
I will train her to have thoughts and opinions of her own.
Did Vera require training in this area? Did you?
At first, it was a bit touch and go, yes, but after a while, she just kind of took off like a weed.
Did you
Did I?
require training?
Oh, well, considering how, my dear Count, you know that my upbringing is not as prominent as yours, and so I have had to have quite a few thoughts and opinions of my own in order to get where I am today.
And he steps a little closer to you and he says, I've always thought of you as a very enterprising person. And I see now, with things that I have learned recently and the way that my wedding has somehow managed to appear, that I was correct in my assumption that there's more to you than met the eye.
I will choose to take that as a compliment.
I believe that you are a far more intelligent woman than you would allow other people to think. But let me tell you something. You have kept a secret for a very long time. And I believe that if you were less guarded with those who love you and allowed yourself some space to breathe, you would be a much happier person.
My dear Arkadiy, let me tell you something that you should know about women, considering you're about to marry a woman. They are indeed creatures of secrets and wishes. They exist in such a way that they are sustained wholly by what they withdraw from, like what they keep from their husbands. It is only by locking ourselves up and only by hiding away all of the things that we wish we could talk about that you and your ilk find us palatable, that you put up with us.
He puts down his drink and he gently takes both your hands in his and kisses them, and then looks at you over them and says, "My dear woman, it is your vulnerability and your honesty and your feeling that makes men love you."
Of course, a man is always right.
And then he just laughs hysterically, picks up his glass and says, "Oh, that is definitely not true."
Well, I'm glad we found something we can agree on.
If that's the only thing, then that's just fine with me. And he like loops his arm through yours and walks back into the other room. That was kind of adorable.
All right. What disaster do we want to have next? Marina Viktor? Sergei Viktor?
Bonding.
Sergei Arkadiy?
I kind of love the idea of following up that exact conversation with finally laying my cards bare with Viktor.
But
Like,
yeah, I was
just
thinking
push
the
it.
same thing.
Just push
And
it. Just tear me down.
I think I'm going to want you right after that because I kind of like this arc of all Marina's troubles hit her at once.
Lay me low.
You live for it.
Yes, I do. This is how I charge myself up.
What's the context for this? Oh, good.
Maybe I think we've probably wrapped up the wedding planning. We have sent Arkadiy and Clara on their way, and perhaps now it's time for the evening shift, and we have to talk business. Except your mind has not been on business very much lately, dear.
No. I'm glad even like out of character I'm being told what I'm about. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Daria. Yeah, I think Viktor is like distracted and is like cradling, a drink in his hands. I think at some point he kind of like murmurs, mostly to the drink. Oh, by the way, that sends his love. He and his wife has settled quite well, apparently.
What's that, dear? Oh, Lev. Yes, no. I'm very pleased with that arrangement. They seem to be doing quite well, don't you think?
Yes, he seems. Well, he says he has found a new lease in life, and who am I to distrust my son or our son? I'm sure. Well, I will not know if he would say the same if he had gone through his previous arrangement, but you do have an eye for who matches with whom.
Yes, I was very pleased to know that I was able to shake him of any such foolish ideas about about Vera. I do think that Miss Baxter is a much better fit, don't you?
Yes, she was a delight. Did you ever find out why it is that Princess Semyonova and her family just left? It all seemed incredibly abrupt.
No, unfortunately, I didn't. I might as well have been tossing my letters into the fire for all the good it did me. I have not heard back from them since they have departed.
Well, that is a shame. She has a rather lively presence.
Surely it's a
presence
lack
like
of
this.
gratitude. That's what it really is.
Well, I'm sure she appreciated what you did for her, Marina. But well,
If she had appreciated what I had done for her, she would not have disappeared on the Baron like that. Do you know how hard it was to convince Kirill Romanovich not to pull out of our investment organization, our investment schemes, and to forgive me for having him waste his time for 3 seasons?
I'm sure it was a difficulty because he was quite a personality. Well, maybe perhaps I have just praised your matchmaking abilities, but perhaps that one might have just been a miss.
Well, we all can't be right 100% of the time, I guess. It is a shame, though. I am almost invariably right all the time. I do not like to be wrong.
Well, as you said, nobody's perfect. Bound to suffer disappointment every now and then. It's just, well, like you said, you rarely do suffer disappointment, I suppose.
On the contrary, dear, I suffer many disappointments constantly. It is just being wrong about them that I do not suffer.
I think Viktor is like kind of cradling the glass and is like looking at, maybe trying to like look away at like a map. And I think he'll just say it. I think they'll just come out. Well, kind of come out of nowhere. We set this up. Will I be one such disappointment, Marina?
No, Viktor. Why would you say such a thing? On the whole, you have been exactly what I have always expected you to be.
Oh, even then I can't defy expectations. Well, I'm glad to hear that. I would not want to be a disappointment after all. And
well, so long as you don't go dallying on the continent again, then I don't think we'll have to deal with that.
Well,
that was such a out of character thing for you to do, Viktor. Now why did you do it? You were never really truly clear.
Oh, I wasn't too clear at it either. Perhaps it was just a lapse, out of character break. After all, it seemed like a rash thing to do, although such a redoubtable spirit that you are, even my rashness can be accommodated and contained. So, on the whole, suppose it might as well have not happened.
Well, so long as it doesn't happen again. I was very, very nervous that you had somehow started to take after that friend Sergei of yours. I would very much prefer it if your lapses didn't border on those. I do not wish to speak ill of someone who is going through the grieving process at this point, but I've always viewed him as rather unnatural in some ways. I know I shouldn't speak ill of your friends, but he hasn't been here to see you in such a long time that I feel like I can be more candid. perhaps spending all that time on the continent is good for him. Maybe he'll work out some of those tendencies I seem to detect in him.
Hmm. Well, I'm glad that you prefaced that you wish to not speak ill of him before you did. I think like, Victor does say that like probably a bit colder than he expected. Like he's suddenly like really still.
And says at the set, Marina says, "Now, Victor, I don't think it is an insult to just merely describe something as it is. After all, he married an opera singer."
He had.
And he married an opera singer for no reason. He let Arkadiy Ilyich just completely work him into submission and take the fall for something that he did. And then it was Sergei who just fell on the sword. Far too easily, if you ask me.
I suppose you would never be in a position where you need to fall on your sword. It's just that, well, Sergei had his reasons, and, well, those are his reasons to disclose, and perhaps he is not as masterful in navigating the world as you are.
Well, my dear, not everyone has the amount of practice that I have had navigating the world. It's cold out there. You have to do what you can. I think to try to finally goad you over the edge, the thing that she says is, "Now I know that we have offered to let them stay with us for a period of time during their mourning, but I would view it as a great favor to myself and to our home if you would make sure that he doesn't stay too long. We wouldn't want rumors to start."
No, that would be too much for us. Suppose I could let one of my oldest and dearest friends stay for perhaps a moment, perhaps a seasoning of a second, perhaps a conversation as defined by 2 or 3 exchanges for perhaps never seeing him again.
Victor, you're being unusually terse.
I apologize. I never usually find myself this terse. It's an experience so far. So I may not be able to control what it is that I say.
Well, perhaps you should take some time and think about the ways in which you want to communicate the things you have to say. As long as it doesn't involve gallivanting across the continent.
Before we had married, perhaps right before we even met, I had an opportunity to, how was it say, gallivant across the continent. I was met with the most. There was this rather charming man who. I'm putting on a secret. This rather charming man who had, I suppose, opened my eyes for a moment to manners that many would find uncouth. And for that dalliance, I was told to commit myself away from such manners, and ergo found myself to you, Marina, and such was the pressure pushed upon me that I perhaps devoted myself to ensuring that such manners may not come about. Now I'm beginning to wonder if that devotion was misplaced.
Marina has kind of paused as you started to tell this story. And then she raises up and she puts her knitting to the side, and she doesn't look at you. She's staring into the fire, and she's backlit by the fire. And you kind of see her in silhouette, and she just kind of turns over her shoulder and she says, Viktor, I think there are a number of things from before we were married that neither of us terribly want to bring to the surface. It has always been better if we leave what is in the past. Let us pray on it.
Is that why Princess Vera left? Is there some past that has come after her?
Vera's past is very well kept. There is no stain from her past that will follow her.
Well, there hardly would be, given the excellent job you've done watering around her.
Viktor, you've been speaking in metaphors and poetry for the better part of half an hour now. Why don't you just say what you mean?
Did Peter Semenov have you too?
Peter Semyonov did not have me. I had Peter Semyonov. It's very much like a man to assume that women are something to be had, something to be taken for your pleasure. After all, that's why you took me. Although apparently you maybe took me because you were seeking a distinctly different kind of pleasure.
I think Viktor drains his kind of like drink and say, well, I suppose it's been a long time since I've admitted this, but I can say that at the very least, at least we have the pleasure of both having had Peter Semenov.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Marina is stricken for a moment. And then, of course, regains her composure. So that's why you did not mind the interest that I took in Vera. Because if Vera was near at hand, then so was Peter.
Vera's another girl and she deserves the world.
I hope you understand that I've tried to give it to her.
not want to get in the way of that. I'm merely pointing out what's at stake as well. There are a few things I wish to have and few things I give a damn about, and I'm sure you, of all people, would care if people were to know that your husband had well, I think I'm trying to figure out, can I say the word? Do I have the energy to say had fucked another man?
At that point, Marina does turn fully around and looks you in the eye and says, I know that my husband would never let such a thing get out, because my husband is not so selfish as to destroy everyone else's needs for his own selfish desires.
I suppose that begs the question, how much you truly know your husband?
Indeed. I must congratulate you. I have been proven profoundly wrong. I am all astonishment. So tell me, when you were away on the continent and you came back and I asked you if you had slept with another woman, and you told me no, of course not. Did you sleep with Sergei?
No, but I wish I had.
And now he is to come here and stay under our roof. And I am supposed to go and serve him watercress and sandwiches and pour his tea and whiskey, knowing all the while what you may intend to get up to.
Only for a while. And then sooner or later I'll be gone from here as well. And in due time, well, I don't really need to leave anything to you. After all, it is already yours. It's always been yours. I have very
So you
simple
intend
wants.
to leave? Leave me all but a widow in this big house.
Judging from past experience, I wonder if you'll even bother to miss me.
Marina heads towards the door and opens it, and just as she's about to walk out, turns around and looks you in the eyes and says, of course I would miss you, Viktor. We always miss our playthings. And she just walks out.
I think we need to give Daryl some time.
Yes.
So
I need some time.
should we maybe do finally the Viktor Sergei scene that the fans have been writing
God,
us about?
please make out.
Sergei will not know what to say to Viktor until after he has the scene with Marina.
That's fair.
Also, I really need to have I need to have the Sergei Marina scene before Sergei knows anything else.
Yeah, no, like
So
I am on my way.
It would be really good to have like a 5 right now.
You know what? I think then we had the order wrong, Fina.
What?
We need to do Arkadiy Viktor. Arkadiy Vera now.
Let's do it. Let's do it. I'm in.
So, are you still around the house, or
I think I am outside having rolled a fucking cigarette.
Wow, how decadent.
Yeah. It's the kind of day we're having.
So it's evening. I guess the moon is rising.
Yeah, it's evening. The moon is rising. I've staked out a little spot in the garden where there's like a low wall. I have a bottle of vodka and a small glass, and I'm smoking a cigarette and just watching the moon.
Arkadiy.
His entire body goes stiff for a second. Vera.
She's wearing like a very plain traveling dress. Probably like has her hands in a muff with a maybe. I don't think she'd have the carpet bag with her, but she looks like that would be complete the picture.
Like she just got here.
Yeah.
I assume you just arrived.
Yes. I've been gone so long.
I noticed.
I'd almost forgotten what this place looked like. But being here, it all floods back. All the memories.
That is the way of it. Places bring those things out in you.
You think me cruel. For I would think that in your place.
I don't think you're cruel.
I think she comes and leans against the wall next to you. Mother died. I mean, Maria Ivanovna.
I'm sorry to hear it.
It's one of the reasons I stayed so long.
She was terrifying, but I did like her.
She gave me as much love as she could. It's probably more than she wanted to give, but she did it anyway.
It was definitely less than you deserved.
I don't know. I had to do my Wanderjahr in Europe, I guess.
How was that?
Well, it was mostly in Germany.
Not exactly Europe.
They try.
I hear they've got at least one museum now.
Arkasha.
What? Your mother's dead. There's no German around for me to insult.
I'm not mad at you for sending me that letter. I hope you don't regret sending me that letter.
I don't.
She kind of gets up and starts walking around doing the hand-wringing gesture that you remember so well. Do you know those stories where, oh, maybe you don't, where the little girl who's mistreated all her life turns out to actually be a princess? I mean, I did turn out to actually be a princess, but I mean, I thought I'd never had a mother, a real mother. I thought she was dead. And I had to think very hard about what it meant that Marina Stanislavna had done all the things she had done. What kind of a man my father was, and then what kind of a person I was. And what I was holding on to, and what I hated, and what I didn't hate. It is very easy for you to fall into the stance of the judge of all around you when you have been hurt and put upon, and you take refuge in the noble dignity of the oppressed. And even then, when the magic happens and you get to wear the crown, you can tell yourself, but that's not really who I am. I'm still that poor orphaned girl. And so I judged everybody by those standards, and I was born of a lie to cover up love. What does that mean? What does that make me, Arkasha?
I don't think that most of the things that we tell ourselves about the people around us is even true. We tell ourselves that marriage is some sort of loving relationship, and really it's control, it's a way for men to ensure they have an heir and for women to ensure they have security. And children are supposed to be loved, but often are a burden and a trial. And I think that you were born into the world the same way that so many other people were. You were born because no one had a choice but to birth you. You were born because you happened. I was born because I happened. And we are lucky enough to have been born into areas of society that provide us with resources and wealth and clothing and bottles of vodka. I don't think that your birth has any bearing on how you are as a person. I think up until maybe right this very moment, and maybe for many moments afterward, I have been a very selfish man and a very childish person. And I am of high and noble birth. I came about in the way that one is supposed to come about.
You don't feel childish to me now. The only thing I'm afraid of is that you've become cynical.
I'm not a cynic. I think I have a clearer view, though.
I know I should have contacted you. I wanted to. I thought about you so often. But first I was sick, and then I was embarrassed, and then I'd been gone so long and I didn't know what to do. And then there was so much trouble trying to find a way to survive. Mother left me very little. Her relatives were more than kind to me. I didn't want to come back to Russia with nothing but a name to beg upon the kind indulgence of my relatives again.
So what did you come back with instead?
My name, my love for you, not much else.
Is that why you came back?
I came back because this is my home. I came back to see my few remaining relatives. I won't tell you that I came back just for my Count Charming. But yes, Arkadiy, I came back for you. We have both of us been through so many trials, and some of those we caused each other, and some were simply us paying for the sins of our broken parents. I know what you meant when you talked about marriage, but there's also the chance that people who have suffered together and loved together can forge out of that something that is truer than mere romance.
Is that a proposal?
Well, it's not genteel. All I'll say is I'll marry you or no one. Note the clever way that the female heroine uses her wiles to entrap the poor prince. I'll marry you or no one, she says most melodramatically in the moonlight on a bitter frosty autumn night. And she just kind of goes back and leans up against the wall, but much closer to you, and grabs the vodka bottle.
I should have brought 2 glasses.
Who needs a glass? I've been living in Germany.
You have. You know who's in the dining room.
I'll see her in a little bit.
No, you know who else is in the dining room.
I'd heard rumors.
I will say this, Vera. You have disappeared on me 3 times.
That's true. Though technically you disappeared on me once, so.
Oh, okay. So we are keeping score before we ever hit an altar. Interesting. I am such a hopeless fool that I will walk into that dining room right now And I will tell her that our understanding is over because I have an older standing agreement. But if you disappear again, I will not sit quietly in Petersburg. And he steps a little closer and says, I will muster several army legions and comb all of Europe. And when I find you, I will be very put out.
She takes your hands. Then let's do this. My father, when he divided up his estates, gave some to some peasants and they went east. And they have not doing as well as they could. The taxes and the fees they owe back to His Imperial Majesty for the gift of the land is very hard on them. I propose that my mother, as my dowry, buy the old manor house there, and we will go there. That way, we'll be on the step, and if I run, it'll be much easier for you to track me. I suggest that you get both a string of borzoi and perhaps take up falconry.
I'll put a bell on you.
And we can try and help those good people that my father tried to help. Not paternalistically like we used to, but help them find their way. Give them things. I don't know. I don't have much romance left, Arkasha. But I have a little.
And he steps even closer and says, I have enough for at least 3 of us.
Kiss?
Yeah, kiss. Yeah.
All right. Who's up next?
Oh my god, that was adorable.
I do believe I really need to speak to Marina.
Yeah, we gotta keep this tonal whiplash going. So
We gotta move on.
yeah, so I assume I just want this to be the night of horrors for Marina. So you're already here.
And Sergei has no idea that he is walking into the den of the bear.
I'm probably oh, you know what? I'm in the business study. I fled from my husband to the place of business in our home.
That is the most bourgeoisie thing ever. That instead of just having one study like the aristocracy, you have multiple studies.
We can't mix the personal study with the business study with the leisure study.
That would only lead to decadence like the aristocrats.
Yes, well, you find her on her third drink of the same whiskey she was trying to ply you with 2 episodes ago.
All right, there's a knock at your door, and it's ajar. Then he says, "Marina Stanislavna," at the door of the business study.
She sets the glass down really fast and turns around and says, "Oh, my dear prince, you caught me unawares. Please come in. I wasn't aware that you had arrived from your journey. I first of all, let me offer my deepest condolences for your father. I know that the 2 of you were perhaps not on the best of terms, but I do hope that in your hour of mourning you have found our home to be warm and welcoming."
I take great comfort in the fact that he spent more of his time despising me than I spent despising him.
Would you
I'm
like
sure
a drink?
That having a devoted son like Lev, you would not understand.
I am not so sure that upon my passing, Lev will be any more judicious with praise.
I do think that Lev will at least not have cause to cheer your passing.
One can only hope.
No, I should not drink tonight. I do have some matters of business to discuss with you.
Oh, forgive me, dear prince. I don't seem to find myself of the mood to talk business. You see, the affairs of Europe are quite far from my mind at this point. I'm much more preoccupied with the affairs of the home.
I will clarify that I will not be put off by being asked to discuss these matters with Viktor. We should not pretend that you are not the person in charge.
Indeed. Well, you are much more forthright than I generally find you to be, Prince. Yes, let's settle the accounts.
Wealthier and my employer, and I would prefer not to use that aristocratic title. My father would gladly have removed it from me if law allowed him to do so.
Then shall I call you Sergei, as if we are friends?
You can call me Sergei, you can call me Sergio, you can call me Sergei Leonidovich, whichever suits your fancy. You are, after all, my employer.
Yeah, Sergio. Where have I seen that before? Oh yes, scrawled in many loose leaflets, stowed away in various different places around the house, hidden by my husband, who signs them Vittorio.
I am surprised that Viktor would feel the need to hide his correspondence with me.
Viktor has felt the need to hide an awful lot of things from me, many of which have just recently come to light.
I am sorry, I won't, you were not my mentees, and I should not try to intrude.
You know something, Sergei? I have singularly disliked you from the moment I have met you.
You have hidden it poorly.
I'm glad to know that we know where we stand. Would you like to know why I have disliked you all of this time?
I assumed it was because you disliked your husband. Is it for some other reason?
I am rather indifferent to my husband. That is also not a surprise to you. No, Sergei.
Indifferent would be an understatement. What? Yes, please tell me.
I've always disliked you because you get away with it. Everyone just sweeps it under the rug when you contravene society's expectations. And yet people like me have to scrimp and save and bow and beg and hide and cheat and lie to make sure that we get even a semblance of what people like you have been given. I hate you because I have seen far too much of myself in you and not enough of the benefit.
I, for the record, have been both exiled and become an employee of a member of the bourgeoisie.
Do not pretend that you understand what it is like to go hungry.
It has been a long time since either of us had an opportunity to go hungry. Madam.
One never forgets what it's like to be hungry.
I was unaware that you had encountered hardship. I only met you after you married Viktor.
Yes, after I had been settled down nicely and all of my indiscretions swept under the rug. It's worked out very well for me, don't you think? And yet still, I have to hide every single little thing. And I have to pamper men who don't understand what they want, men who don't know what they want. I have to pretend to be less of a woman, more of a woman, this kind of woman, that kind of woman, innocent and voluptuous, and all these things that I'm not terribly good at because I'm much better at doing a man's job.
I'll admit that I had no idea there were indiscretions, madam.
Really? You had no idea there were indiscretions under this roof, Sergei? Sergio?
I had no idea there were indiscretions under this roof at all.
My husband has led me to believe something far different. Well, no, how did he put it? I did not have sex with him, but I wish I had.
I do not know what you're talking about, madam.
She pours herself yet another drink and swaggers across the room and like comes up and stares you right in the face, and it's very improper. And she says, I personally don't care what you pretend to understand or not understand. I am tired of dancing around the subject.
I don't know
As
what
apparently
subject
is Viktor.
I don't know what subject we are discussing.
The fact
I
that
had
my husband
come to
is
you
apparently in
with
love with you.
what?
Oh, did you not know?
We have been best friends for an extended period of time. Of course, we love each other deeply.
My husband does not love you the way that a husband loves a bosom buddy. In fact,
But
my
I'm sure
husband,
there is some misunderstanding or miscommunication that you're. I have never met a man so in love with his wife as you, as your husband.
now you lie to my face.
No, it is you who are lying to my face. I have literally never met a man so entirely devoted to his wife.
Devotion is not the same as love.
That sounds like some stupidity I muttered when I was 28.
Well, it turns out, even in your 20s, you might have been right about something.
Are you seeking to humiliate me to create some scandal? I'm already exiled.
You're married to an opera singer. I can't do much more than what you've already done to yourself. I am merely trying to save my own face here. Because ultimately, Sergei, what it comes down to, and what it has always come down to, is business. And if my husband is determined to find some way to ruin my business, I will just have to make a deal that works in my favor.
Then why don't we speak plainly to each other, madam? I am, after all, your employee.
Yes, and to keep you in my employ and to keep my husband attached to the business, I do suppose that greater expansion in Europe is necessary.
I have often tried to broach the subject of railways in central Italy with you.
And you know, I have been singularly uninterested in expanding into Italy.
I think you will find, madam, that the pretender king and pretender pope are both very interested in a rail line in what is soon to be the former papal states. Neither has access to a good source of steel.
I do not know how to continue telling you people that I do not care about steel.
But you do care about making money.
I care about maintaining the position that we have built for ourselves.
The position that, let us be honest, madam, that you have built for yourselves. Whatever
Yes,
language we're in,
but
I'm using the singular you.
be that as it may, I cannot continue to build anything without a man in front of me. Do you think that the Baron, whom I have spent many, many years now plying to complete pointlessness, cares one whit what I have to say about business? No, he responds to Viktor's letters. Do you think that the investors will continue to pony up cash for expansions into steel and timber and all the other things that cause the rail lines to be laid if they saw my name at the bottom of the business contracts? No, it is because Viktor is the one who signs the checks. It is because Viktor is the one who says hello and shakes hands in all the right places, because I put him in the right places and because I tell him to shake the hands of the right people. I cannot do those things.
Madam, I don't bring dossiers to Viktor.
And perhaps that is why Viktor is my business partner. Partner in marriage, partner in business. They're rather the same thing. Although I assume he probably wants them to be different.
It is why I avoided marriage for as long as I did.
And even when you did get a marriage, it was a business proposition, in a way.
Part business proposition, part social vendetta. I swore my father would die regretting his treatment of me, and he did.
You know what that tells me about you, though, is that you're a man who gets things done, one way or the other.
I am a man who gets things done for the man's employer. My father also died significantly poorer than he was when I left his employment.
Well then, Sergei, as much as I dislike you, I think it's about time you got a promotion.
Madam, I feel that our existing arrangement has worked to both our benefits and might continue to working in achieving what we want, ultimately.
And if it was just you and me who were negotiating, then yes, that would probably be true.
Then what would be the problem with continuing the arrangement as it is?
And this is the point where she says very uncouthly, Sergei, I am offering you my husband so that you may keep him here, so that I may continue to benefit from using his name and presence. That is not the role of a far-off agent.
You're of course aware that I am not allowed in Petersburg.
There are many other places that business happens than Petersburg.
Your husband always had a certain talent for conducting business in the Caucasus and Siberia. Places he's never traveled. It's rather amazing his grasp of them.
He reads a lot.
Cold, remote. Are you asking me to return to Russia and stay here in the country?
I suppose that is what I am asking. That's rather just, isn't it? That in order to get what I want, I must embrace what I hate.
Then, well, be aware that in order to get what I truly want, I have to give up a place that I love.
Well, it seems we both have sacrifices to make, don't we?
If there is one thing my father believed that I am coming to understand, it is that one must make sacrifices for the position one wishes to hold. My family has a small cottage, guest house, really. Would you prefer me to stay there? I can induce some of my sister's servants to make arrangements for it to be warmed, prepared, occupied.
Yes, I would appreciate the opportunity to acclimate myself to your presence.
If I may have the room you've granted me for the night, I think I can make those arrangements in the morning.
Of course, the beds are already warmed. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a drink to get to.
Of course.
Shall I step up to the merry-go-round, Gerald?
God damn it.
That is a job, but Daryl, you're a hero tonight.
Okay. No, like, this is what I asked for. This is what I asked for.
You did. You pushed everything.
Everything I've done has led me to this point.
Do you need a scene in between, or?
No, bring it on. Yeah,
right.
Let's just do this.
So I think later, you're still sitting in front of the fire, probably drinking, and look up, and there's Arkadiy and Vera holding hands, and she turns and pushes him back and closes the doors behind her.
And you
Bonsoir.
left me again.
You don't want to be in the room for this. I
No,
think I
don't.
made that incredibly clear.
Yeah.
No, but still though.
I know. Bonsoir, mama.
I see God has made it his mission today to put the final nail in my coffin. Was that Arkadiy? I saw you shuffle out the door before it slammed in his face.
Yes, mother.
It takes her a moment, like the haze of the alcohol is set in, and then it's blink, blink, blink. Excuse me?
I said, yes, mother. That's Arkadiy, and I'm going to marry him.
She just laughs to herself and she says, I kept that secret for 24 years. And apparently, they printed it on the front page today.
Why'd you keep it, Mother?
What was I supposed to do, Vera? Let you grow up in a gutter, the daughter of a whore?
Why didn't you tell me when the moment was right?
Has the moment ever been right? Have you ever given a moment where I thought, yes, now is the time I can finally confide in you, that this is who I truly am?
And my father was Pyotr Semenov, wasn't he?
Yes, that is why you were placed in his home. That is why he gave you right to his name in the only way that he could. It is the least we could have done in that situation.
The least, yes. Don't get me wrong, Mother. I'm extremely grateful for all the kindness you have shown me.
Are you?
I am. But I think you have been quite exceptionally kind to me.
I have set you up in a position where you could actually find your way in a society that would have otherwise closed its doors on you. I have made sure that you got the education that you needed. I've made sure that you learned your manners. I have made sure to put you in line sight of many, many eligible, attractive, respectable gentlemen who could have set you up for the life that you always deserved. And yet here you stand with Arkadiy Ilyich on the other side of that door, telling me what exactly?
Telling you that I am very grateful for all you have done. But also to tell you that the secrets you kept were not so consequenceless as you might have wished. That all the nights I spent weeping my eyes out alone in my room, crying over two phantoms who never existed. All the times I fell down and there was only a governess around to pick me up, and I was only ever Fräulein Vera to the woman I thought I had to call mother. That there was no one there to say, there, Veruchka. It's okay. Mommy's here. I understand you had choices to make. But then don't you stand and judge me on my choices with Arkadiy. You were not there when Ilyich Katavasov quite nearly succeeded in doing what he set out to do.
And like a true parent who will not take the blame, she ignores that. And she says, do you think you were the only one to cry yourself asleep alone at night? Do you think I sat here in a lap of luxury in the arms of a man I didn't know or want touching me? I cried myself to sleep constantly, every day, wishing that I could hold you in my arms. I did what I could do so that I could try to give you the life that you deserved. You are not the only one who suffered for it, Vera.
I know, Mother. That's why I'm here, trying to explain, trying to tell you that we have to stop this. We have to break this chain of suffering that we have all tied ourselves to. As she
Break
goes, as
this
she
chain of-
kneels at your feet and grabs your hands, like, Mother, all those nights you were alone and you could not embrace me, I am here now. I now hate you. I'm not mad at you. I am hurt. I've hurt all my life. I have been hurt. And I know you have too.
You just feel Marina's hands tighten and loosen and tighten and loosen and tighten and loosen. And there's this part that like one of her hands comes free and like comes up and like caresses your face and then just withdraws for like an inch. And she says, why do you all believe that it is so easy to put these things down? Do you think that we can exist in this place if we were just to say our truth? Do you think that everyone will happily accept you? Do you think that knowing what people could know, that they would bless yours and Arkadiy's union? I don't even like Arkadiy, but I know that if it comes out who you are, how you came to be, that he will suffer for it too. Do you think he's strong enough to do that? Do you think that
Mother.
he will stand by you?
Yes. I think we have come back to ourselves, and that we are not going to make the mistake that you and my father were forced to make. A mistake I don't blame you for, the pain of which I cannot even begin to comprehend. But don't act like I haven't suffered, that I wasn't forced into positions I didn't like either.
But you have the chance to overcome them, Vera. You have the chance to put them behind you.
Behind you? Oh, Mother. You never put things behind you. They become part of you. They become part of the road of your life that you've built. I will never forgive Ilyich Katavasov for what he did. Do you think I am happy that I will bear the name Katavasova? It is not a name I would have were it not that I can have no one else in the world but Arkadiy.
Vera,
Look
Vera,
me in my eyes and tell me you don't know how that feels.
And like, her face just starts to crack. And you don't know if it's a combination of all of this finally rushing out, or too much alcohol, or like the promise that you could potentially be telling a truth that she could believe in, but like a tear rolls down her face and then she's just sobbing.
Mother, come to my arms, Mother. Mother, I love you.
Vera, you don't understand. It's not that simple, Vera. You can't just put all of these things away. You can't. No, we can't shirk everything that society will think of us. We can't.
I know.
It's better to live in shadows.
No, Mother. If we must live in the shadows, then let us live together. I will not endanger your position in society, but I will call you my mother because you are. And I've always known, somehow.
There's just this, you can see the war raging behind Marina's eyes. Like she's been hiding this longer than you've been alive. But I think that after understanding that everything that she's built with Viktor is crumbling around her, after making a literal deal with the devil, as it were, with Sergei, this moment, this last thing, she decides that she'll take it for herself. And she just crumples and falls into your arms and starts crying against your shoulder.
Are we good here? I feel like we're good here.
Yeah.
Do we need we want a Sergei Viktor scene at the end? Yes.
So we need a Sergei Viktor scene and we need a Sergei Arkadiy scene.
I'd like a moment with Sergei. Maybe that can be the lead into the Sergei Arkadiy thing, and then we can wind up with a little moment with Viktor and Sergei.
Yeah, we need Viktor and Sergei to get very gay on each other.
Yeah, clearly.
Cool, great.
So maybe I come out of this room kind of like mopping my face.
Like 4 hours later.
And see you, and I don't think I can hold it. It's just I run up and embrace Sergei.
What was that for? He says, embracing you tightly.
Sergio, Oh, it's so good to see you again.
It is very good to see you. You did not ever come to Florence.
No, my
I'm
mother.
not bitter.
No, it's all right. My mother died, and it was very difficult for a while.
Oh, Vera, I'm so sorry.
It's all right. She's like just holding your hand, like, Sergei,
Oh, no, he's not let go of you
congratulate me.
because
Because Arkadiy and I are in love.
I have known you were in love for an extended period of time. I assume
Oh,
this
yes. Well, we're also
that,
going to get married.
well, that is a drastic improvement over how I left you a year ago.
Don't think I don't see my future. You've made me too wise. I know he will cheat on me, and he will have dalliances, and he will be forgetful, and I will constantly be going over the books with him. But I also know this: we will never be parted again, because he loves me.
Only admit to knowing of the last one. You will need to repeatedly go over the books with him.
Well, yes. We're going to go live east. You will have to
East?
come and yes. Yes. We're going out.
East?
Sergei, this is a big country.
I swear all of you are going to drag me to Asia.
No, but you will have to come and visit, and you will have to sit with our children on your knees, and they will call you Uncle Sergei and pull your beard.
I have been informed that I am not to remain in Europe, but to pursue the original railroad businesses in Siberia and the Caucasus.
Well, then, when you come back from Omsk, you know that you will have a place where you can stop for the night.
You know, both of you had permission to go to Europe all you wanted, right?
Don't think I'm going to let Arkadiy out of my sight that quick.
Men don't become invisible in Europe. Dearest Vera.
Dearest Sergio, we both know that men get ideas in Europe.
Men get ideas everywhere. I had several
Caro.
ideas in Moscow, which makes me quite extraordinary.
Caro, dearest Sergei, I feel that this would not have been possible without you. I have found out that I had a father, and that I think he was a good man, but he could never be my father with me. So I'm very, very glad I found a second one in you. You will come and visit us. I can't be far from the people I love anymore.
Do you plan to get married here in the country, or do you plan to get married in Petersburg?
I honestly don't care so long as it's soon.
Well, then I will stand behind you.
I would not have I would have no one else in the world stand by me that day. Also, I need a crown, and I don't have a lot of money. So if there's one in your family.
I have most of the money in the family, even though my father left me nothing.
Akasha's waiting in the living room. You should go and congratulate him and smoke cigars or whatever it is you do. I need to find some more brandy for Marina Stanislavna.
I will leave that to your wisdom and discretion, though when I saw her, she was drinking whiskey. Do be advised that the two do not necessarily combine well together.
Don't worry. I understand her very well. And I go sailing off.
And I think that's the moment I need to like storm in on Viktor. Where are you, Viktor?
No idea. Maybe outside in the. I don't know, not outside. This is being very public. No. I'm not sure. I think he's still in that sitting room because he honestly as soon as that scene was kind of done, he just kind of like, oh, stood up for myself. Wow, that's what it feels like. He's just kind of like collapsed in a chair and is almost kind of like falling asleep, and all the energy is out of him.
There's a great line in a novel about the heady approval of one's own conscience. I think after looking several other places, I finally open the door and see you there. And I close this door behind me and sort of look at you cross-armed. My arms crossed across my chest, just looking at you.
Victor's like head is like drooped down, and he's clearly kind of like asleep.
Victor. Vincent Toy.
Oh dear. Hello. I wasn't expecting to see you until sweet heavens, have I been sitting down for how long have I been down here?
I don't know. I arrived an hour and a half ago. Dined in the kitchen, saw your wife.
Oh. How is she?
How is your wife?
Yes. Well, it's just that when we last saw each other, we had a bit of an exchange of words.
You mean you and your wife had an exchange of words when you last saw each other?
Yes, that is an accurate summary of what happened.
What did you discuss?
Business mostly. Reminiscing of a sort.
Reminiscing and business.
Yes, exactly. That's the sort of thing we discuss together.
Nostalgia and business are what you discuss together.
Well, I admit that nostalgia is a more recent development, very recent. In fact, I think throughout our lives together, we mostly talk business.
What was the nostalgia about?
We well. Well, we talked about Lev first. We talked about Lev, and well, we talked about yourself, and
I was the topic of conversation.
Yes. We were talking about the arrangements we're staying over, and well, she expressed some opinions about you that
She's told me that she has opinions about me.
Very stark opinions. Opinions she might have shared with you, if with your conversation with her.
Smart opinions.
Stark. I meant stark. Not.
Stark.
I
opinion.
wouldn't call them smart. In fact, I took umbrage with them.
Why in the world would you take umbrage with the opinions of the woman you love?
Well, I suppose I should have told you this, but it has been some. My gosh, it has been some time since I've seen you. I've
1
figured out
year, 17 days.
that long, huh? Well, I never got around to telling you, but I found out recently that devotion can be a kind of love, but it can also not be.
Are you saying that sometimes we're devoted to people we love, and sometimes we are devoted to people that we don't really understand?
More devoted to more being devoted to an ideal of sorts. And
An ideal.
yes, I will. Well, Marina knows now, but you know that I've been wondering about this, where this devotion came from, and well,
Which devotion are we talking about? When you say this devotion?
the wanted this ideal of who I thought. I'm not sure. Words were exchanged, and I may have shared freely in a very rash manner. I said some very rash things, I think. If you had talked to Marina, I'm sure she's not spared any time sharing what was said.
Marina has told me very little. And I think I should be very, very, very honest with you. Because I should not expect honesty from you if I'm not willing to be honest with you.
I've never felt you be anything but honest to me. I might do.
It is a lie of omission. And that's when I just stroll straight forward and plant a kiss on your lips.
Victor's eyes are like, oh shit, it's happening. Because he's like just so exhausted.
And I think when we stop kissing, I just pull you forward and say, please don't walk away.
Where would I even walk away to?
Anywhere. But please don't.
I think like it's a forehead touch when Victor says I won't. I wouldn't want to.
When I first met you, I thought you were the most profoundly bourgeoisie person I've ever met. And then I fell for you. There may have been some time in there, I don't know. I was 16. But I have never stopped thinking of you in 21 years. Even when I did not see you for years at a time.
I don't know what to say. It's a lot of years.
It's a very long period of years, and you were always older and wiser and smarter and so insufferably bourgeoisie. And yet I have no idea what to do with you but to love you.
I can't be that wise if I've failed to notice this. You've always been there, even when you weren't. I feel we have. I feel like I need to catch up.
I wore black when you married. My greatest fear in life is that you loved your wife. And
I thought you just wanted to look dashing that day. And you did.
I should inform you that my employer has informed me that I am to stay in Russia and to refocus my attentions on the Caucasus and Siberia.
So you're just So you're to be close, then?
I am very fond of Europe, but I am more fond of my employer.
Victor is going to reflect what that was doing and looks a bit confused. No.
I worked for you.
For this moment, can we please stop being so coy? I think I've had enough coyness for several lifetimes. I'd like to believe you do too.
Then you will deliver those letters. I have some to share with you as well. They seem to have gotten lost in intercontinental mail.
I'll be happy to do so in a moment. And he's going to kiss you.
And then tomorrow morning.
No, he's kissing you right now.
Okay.
In a moment. The letters can wait.
I feel like this scene has happened.
I think.
I don't smoke and I need a cigarette.
Yeah, I think that's it. I know you wanted to talk to Sergei, but
I don't care. It's fine.
Yeah,
Everything's good. All the loose ends are tied up.
Yeah,
I don't think we really need an epilogue.
No, there's some sort of like, beautiful future image of like, just a bunch of little vignettes of like Akasha and Vera's wedding day, which is very subdued and happens nearby in the countryside in a small church. And, Vera makes sure to give Marina a gift when no one's looking and there's lots of crying and,
Vera is literally the first bride in history to be there early.
she's very early. Arkasha
chop,
doing a lot
chop,
of
chop,
doing a
chop,
lot of
father. Let's
hugging
go.
with Sergei, and then a lot of laughing at Viktor for being dense about Sergei, and then they get married, and there's like people waving, and then they're in
Maybe
wherever.
the post-credit montage of like all little kids playing with Sergei and Marina visiting them in their farm in the east, and
Yeah.
Marina and Viktor being much better business partners than partners in matrimony.
Oh my God, seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys were absolutely terrible husband and wife, but
so-
very good at just, having dinner and talking.
So thank you, everybody. That was lovely. We got a happy ending. Yay! We did it. Even Daryl got a happy ending. Yay!
They tried really hard to not.
I know, but we
Worked
did
so
it.
hard on it.
We did it. So until next year, thank you, everyone. This was an absolute delight. This was the most fun.
No. I just feel like you should know that inside my head, there's like two birds having a conversation about bird stuff. Whenever you do that, I'm like, that. Yeah, totally. Yep.
And that is literally how Jack invented Twitter.
I'm sorry, I just got very distracted by Apple News asking the question, who burned down the Pornhub CEO's mansion and why? I'm gonna find out later. I need to know. It's in Vanity Fair if anybody's interested. I'm gonna read that.
The Pornhub CEO had a mansion?
Yeah,
Of
so
course, the
many
Pornhub
questions.
CEO had a mansion. It's probably not a
I
business.
mean, it is probably the biggest media thing on the internet, so it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
That I'm surprised at you, Daryl, because normally you're sadistic, but that was just masochistic. Bravo! I enjoy seeing other sides of your character.
Okay, so our options are pull another Darth Vader style exit, or just one thirsty gay in all of Russia.
There's so many thirsty gays in Russia.
I
We
mean,
played only like 2% of the thirsty gays in Russia.
Yeah,
It's a very large country with many homosexuals.
please say that again in a Russian accent.
And now I'm just
It is a large country with many homosexuals.
I'm picturing Vera
Very
writing Sergei, like, I met the most charming silver-haired count while I was in Paris, Count Andre. He's just the life of the party. That reminds me, I've been thinking this over, and I don't think there's any way we can depart the Russian cycle without doing Pushkin Society. So that's going to be my pitch for next year.
Pushkin. I just
So-
like saying Pushkin.
Set sometime in the 1830s, and yes, I plan to recycle a formal character. So there.
Yeah,
It's
I'm sorry,
inevitable.
I said a swear.
I mean, guys, the Discord's been going nuts about this.
Also, my entire body is hot after that.
Yeah, wow. That was don't mess don't I'm telling you, you don't mess with Leandra's 11 o'clock numbers.
That scene got me pregnant. Yeah, we wanted this it looks like a happy ending and I don't understand it. How did you do all of your fucking devil bullshit and yet
We set out to do a tragedy.
we worked real hard.
We had a lot of tragedy, guys. Come
We
on.
had
Everything in my power.
My romance writer instincts have completely undermined all of Kat's brilliant literary instinct.
Oh no, I was going for the happy ending too. Are you kidding me?
How often are we given this opportunity?
We have had happy endings.
Romance writer instincts have undermined everything.
I'll remind you,
last
Portrait
year-
of the World mostly ended happily.
There you go.
Last year we went so low
Oh yeah.
that there was no other way to go but up.
Oh yeah.
Can I walk in on you defaming my name just then?
No, I've got 5 reputation tags here.
Fine.
You let me have my little tragic thing here.
You go ahead.
You people want
I
tragic.
I love the fact that Daryl looked like you were about to say thank you.
Let me do.
You were the worst married couple ever. Thank you.
You guys were really terrible at that. Thank you. Oh my God.